Good afternoon, and welcome to Good afternoon. Good afternoon, and welcome to Building Wealth Together with our experts, Rosalind Booker, Rhonda Hutchison, Melanie Williamson, and Chris Ziegler. Here is Building Wealth Together.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Building Wealth Together, back to the basics. I'm Roz B, as Roz B, and I know we have taken a break, y'all, but it's been for the best,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Oh my God, and I know y'all looking at us, and it's like, ooh, they so beautiful. They up live and close and person. I know, colors, all these vibrant colors.
So I got a jacket on this time too.
You sure do. You for real unprofessional. Right, yeah. Well, y'all, welcome back. We have missed you, and it has been a tremendous time, transitioning into our next and our new. And we just got to, first of all, send a prop out to Brian Pendleton with Pendleton Studios.
Yay!
He's helping us be bigger and better and to serve you at a much grander level. But y'all, we got a great show. As always, we want to introduce our hosts. Can't do this by myself. God has blessed with a tremendous team. Again, I'm Roz B, as Roz B, Principal Broker, CEO of Arbrook Realty. And what do? We help birth dreams and build legacies in real estate. And also Executive Director of Arbrook Cares. That's our nonprofit arm. Doing great things, will be doing great things in the community to partner for home buyer education. But drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. I know Rhonda, she's in the house.
You better get ready because the lone lioness. Hello. This is Rhonda Hutchison. I am the lone lioness. I'm a residential mortgage lender powered by Paramount Residential Mortgage Group. So excited to be back in the house with my team. Yes.
You didn't roar though.
You know what?
You need to drink water first.
Yeah. Y'all need to let me out in the jungle first. Let me get powered first. Then I'll start roaring. But I am a residential mortgage lender. Listen, I'm lending everything from FHA conventional, USDA, FHA conventional. I mean the whole thing. I'm there for you. I'm excited about building wealth together, linking arms with my team to build generational wealth, to put us in that place where we're building legacies for our families. So once again, I'm excited to be back on the show with my team.
Awesome. And so every time we're in the presence of this dude, I mean, he got a big stick and he's always just trying to keeping us in order. But anyway, Chris, how you been?
Hey, I'm hanging in there. I'm doing well. I'm Chris Ziegler with the Ziegler Allstate,
All right.
located in Frisco, Texas, where my motto is customer service with a personal touch. And like I say, I'm all about that education. And, I service the whole state of Texas and just happy to be back on the show again, cranking up with a new venture and everything. And my man Byron Pendleton over there, we're hooking up on it. He and Teresa been doing a phenomenal job with us and just looking forward to get this thing cranking again.
There you go. There you go. You getting us in line. Put your stick down.
Yeah,
We gonna mind.
Principal.
Okay, the principal. So I'm here.
That's
Keep
right.
everything on the level.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? Last but not least,
Definitely
we
not
got
least.
y'all gotta say about 7 of her names. We got Melanie Mel,
Don't do it.
baby doll, Eminem, Melanie Michelle in the house. You go, girl.
What every time a colorful introduction as always, Roz. Thank you.
Wait a minute, I gotta go there.
What you gonna do?
Y'all saw how she was walking through. That's how she is. How she come on.
Power, yeah.
Powerhouse.
Yes.
Okay.
Stuff.
Don't
Absolutely.
deny. Hey, you gotta know your value
There you
with
go.
confidence and that level that keeps you on the up and up with your credentials, with credit. So I'm in that credit industry, Melanie Williamson, and credit is the key for the beginning of your wealth building. Just having that solid foundation, and that's my industry. I've been in the credit industry for over 10 years, and helping people get back in a solid foundation with their credit is my goal. So I'm glad to be here, glad to be back.
Yay.
Byron Pendleton Studio.
Yeah. In the house.
Okay.
In the house. I tell you, this is going to be a great topic. Riding the tides of change and creating new norms. Because,
Exactly.
hey, life hasn't been the same since the beginning of 2020
Yep.
Yeah.
for all of us. And we've had to pivot and adapt, pivot and thrive, pivot and adjust. And, you know, it's just crazy out there. So, but before we get going, I just wanted to say that I am just so grateful to be here with you today.
Okay.
And you know, I'm gonna cry.
Don't make me cry.
Don't cry. Don't.
Because we don't have any tissue over here.
Yep. In my LA.
I know. And for those of us, you know, and have been their journey, you know, we started on KHVN, Heaven 97.9 radio, and they sold the station.
Yes.
And thank you guys for hanging in there with us. For those who have followed us, and you've been waiting, you're like, okay, where y'all at? Where y'all at? You know, so we are now coming to a grander scale, be on YouTube and other platforms. Yay. And so you'll be able to share this information in easier format. So we just want to say thank you with us in the journey, and we are so grateful for each and every one of you.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about it real quick. It's a seller's market in terms of real estate. Let me tell you, years, y'all, I haven't seen like this.
I know.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I've kind of rode the waves and sellers, and before it hits the market, it has multiple offers.
Right.
There are door knockers. There are people who are calling you. Do you want to even sell your home before you even think about wanting to sell it?
Right.
So it's definitely you know, unprecedented time, and you know, we just want to talk about, you know, some of the things that have happened. We're going to save a little of those topics for the end of the show. But I just wanted to know from you, Melly Mel, what are some of the things that are happening in the credit industry that is kind of setting you guys apart right now? What do you see people needing the most help? What's going on?
Right. Well, right now in the credit industry, people are buckling down. You know, everybody's gone through a wave of transition of loss of income, or maybe not. Maybe they did thrive during this time and purchased a home. But you know, after you purchase a home, your credit takes a dive. So you got to wait a time to get that credit to build back up over time before you make any further purchases after a major purchase like that. But for those that couldn't get in the game. They couldn't compete, like you said, those
Right.
multiple offers. You know, we are advising consumers to buckle down and work on their credit and save their money, because you want to have buying power. You know, you need your buying power. You need to be ready for anything. At this point, after everything that we've been through, the uncertainty is so large and dramatic to all of us that we have to just calm ourselves down and look at what's the next best thing that we can do. And if we need to increase our income or get a better paying job or move from commission to salary,
Right.
or, you know, relocate. People are making, this is a time that we're really looking at our situation. You know, we have been kind of boxed in, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we get to do a huge self-reflection. You know, just self-reflect, and that's into our finances, into our living, our credit. And so for the credit industry, it is really just narrowing things down and taking a survey as to where we are and what do we need to do, what things do we need to change. And so for a large part of those consumers, they're seeing that, okay, I need to get my credit score up, and I need to save money where I lost it during this pandemic. I'm restarting. And it's okay to start all over again from scratch. You know what I'm saying? Hey, a lot of the credit out there took a nosedive because they couldn't make the payments, they couldn't stay up with their bills. Some of them, a large group of people got let go. So with that unemployment rate and loss of job, there were gaps. So you want to make sure that your credit is reporting correctly, specifically under the CARES Act. So it's aligning, okay, did I do everything that I was supposed to do to make sure that they weren't going to report this negatively on my credit report? And if you did, making sure to look at that credit report and make sure that there are no errors, and if there are, going after those, disputing those, and doing the things you need to do to make sure that they're corrected.
And I'm going to try to real quick what you said too, because people don't, sometimes we're the forgotten child in the insurance industry. And what she said is very, very important what Melanie just said about, you know, the credit. Insurance, we have what we call a soft hit. We don't do a hard hit on a credit where your credit score is a soft hit. So you can go to the different companies within the insurance industry and don't want to have an impact on your credit score. But I have people work with people like Melanie big time, because when you do your insurance, we do look at a byproduct of the credit, amongst other things that we have, and that plays an important part. And one of the parts of that particular formula, that algorithm, is the credit score. But they use a certain algorithm of that, and it's important that you have that in line, because, you know, certain companies have rating factors from that standpoint as well. So you want to make sure you have all your things in line. So I do have them to get in contact with people like Melanie to make sure that they're on the right path from that standpoint, because, you know, I get referrals from people sometimes, and I have my own, I don't know, this is my own, I might need to copyright this, but I say everybody has their own insurance DNA. You know, somebody might refer somebody to me, and they'll say, well, you can be a twin. Y'all can be identical twins, walk alike, talk talk
Yeah.
right, I can get it out. And everything can be the same, but you have different parameters, different DNA when it comes to insurance and scores and claims and things of that nature. So you got to do it separately. You hear stories like, Chris, I'm coming to you, I got to refer to you. I'm gonna make a of it. You gave my buddy $2 for free. Why was mine $200? I had to explain to them what they need to do, and then I refer them to somebody like a Melanie, and that's why I work closely with Rhonda and Roz as well too, because it's like because everything that we do is all interlinked between us. So we kind of bounce things, bounce everything off each other. That's very important what she said.
Rhonda, I know you and I, we in his hand. We working like a hound dog, a cat, and a lion. And you busy.
Like a man in a what they say, one-leg man. And they're going nowhere. Stop.
That was good. So, Rhonda, what you are seeing in the mortgage, I know there's a plethora, a whole lot of people applying. Are they getting home?
Yes. And just like Melanie stated, is those in a position to purchase, they are purchasing. I'm closing loans, and that's. However, there are a greater amount of bars where that window where they can't purchase and don't have that money to pay over asking price, or the position where they can only for a certain amount where there's open for that loan. That loan amount. I always say, and just like Melanie, I totally agree. This is a time of transformation, operation.
Yes. You preaching over here, girl.
Be steady, But just be preparing. Don't give up, and that's and I say that every day. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Continue to save, as just like Melanie Mel said. Continue to save. Continue to work on your credit score, because the higher the credit score, the higher the buying power. There are minimum credit scores, but you want to be at a place where you have advantages.
That's exactly
Create some options.
Create some options. That's what I said. But yes, I'm closing loans. But like you say, you have to be in that realm of that over 350, 400K. Sales price, and with a stable of 2 household income still a healthy credit score, and it exists. But be prepared. Keep yourself prepared, because it's going to make a turn. It's going to make a turn.
And then those individuals will be ready. Buying power.
Exactly.
And it's a credit confidence, to be able to go in anywhere.
Exactly.
Just like a basketball player.
Coming out
your bench. Always
put me in the game.
Show up at every practice.
Yes.
Show at every practice.
Awesome. Well, you know what? Riding the tides is the new norm. We're going to take a short break about it some more.
Okay.
one thing I wanted to talk about, welcome back, first of all, welcome back to Building Wealth Together, back to the basics. And we're going to pick up where Rhonda left off. And one of the things I wanted to chime in about was just talking about, mortgages and things of that nature. And I want to talk about the debt to income ratio. Once again, you hear me talk about how I work closely with these ladies, whether it be real estate, credit, or mortgages, but we're all working hand in concert with one another. And I want to talk to them about debt to income ratio, because people don't realize with the insurance, you have to make sure you have the parameters correct right there, and make sure the numbers line up, and make sure you have the right coverage. And sometimes people forget, gets to the table at the last minute. I told you we're the forgotten child of insurance. The forgotten child. So we always have to remind people to actually start with us at the very beginning of the process. Even when you get with your real estate broker, your mortgage person, the credit person, we should be right there at the very beginning. But people think about us at the end.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's too late, but sometimes we have to backpedal and just to try to make sure that we are in alignment with what they're trying to do. So I want you to kind of chime in on how we work together on the debt to income ratio to make sure the person is set up from that standpoint, from the insurance, from real estate persons involved as well.
Absolutely, Chris. Debt to income, you need a healthy debt to income ratio. And that means you have less debt, not as much debt as you have income coming in.
Right.
And so that's the key. That's buying power, because it actually determines the sales price. What's your sales price that I can qualify for based on my debt to income? And the debt to income is not those things like your cell phone or maybe your, I'm trying to think of something else that may, medical bill or maybe something.
Right.
Those are expenses that you will see on your credit report as a revolving credit, what we'll say, or a loan or your mortgage or your auto loan. Those are the things that are taken into consideration when.
I want you to bookmark that,
Okay.
because I can remember, true story, having a mortgage payment on wheels. So what I mean by that is,
Explain.
well, I went out and brought me a lavish luxury vehicle.
Okay, all
But
right.
that blew my debt to income ratio out of whack. In other words,
Being hood rich.
hood rich. Hood rich. I'm a hood rich. So anyway, some people can buy a car and they can be sleeping in that car versus having a home and a garage to put it in. So I would say, and you would probably agree, Rhonda,
I would totally agree.
get the house first.
Hit the
First house in the car.
Up to the car.
House before the car.
Yeah.
Always, because that and the auto is one of the biggest expenses.
It is.
Of course, behind student loan debt.
Right.
That's another. But on the positive tip on that, and let me say this real quick, and I really want to turn this back over to Mel, because I know, being a credit expert, she probably have a lot to be able to contribute to this conversation. But what the great thing is, in June 18th of this year, FHA actually made a change in their debt to income, how we calculate debt to income ratio. In the past, it was 1% of the balance of your student loan debt. Now that change has now 0.5%.
Oh,
so just imagine how many homes have the opportunity to purchase that they did not before.
Wow.
That is
Because
good
of
news.
that high.
That does.
Exactly. And also what's awesome about it is that if you're on an income-based, what we call IBR, income-based repayment plan,
Right.
you can use that dollar amount in lieu of the 0.5%.
Wait a minute, Rhonda. I heard them clapping.
That's huge.
That is
huge.
You guys, that is huge, because in this industry, I see that as the obstacle
Right.
in moving forward.
The
to
student
purchase.
loan is a
student
huge
loan
obstacle.
debt. It can
That's
stop your
That's a deal
show.
breaker.
It is a deal
it is
breaker.
it's an absolutely deal breaker. So that was exciting news, and
Right.
it has brought that to the purpose now that you maybe in the past could not, because your debt to income was high.
That's
Mel, you
amazing.
have anything that you can?
Well, a lot of people out there right now should be thinking about hearing their lenders say, hey, you don't qualify because of your debt to income ratio. That should be ding, ding, ding right now sounding,
spending too much.
because you're working on your credit. You're being coached to work on your credit,
Right.
and you're saving money. And now added to that, now you're at a 0.5% for those student loans for your debt to income ratio. That's a huge savings. So there should be clapping out there. Should be thinking about, okay, we need to start really seriously putting some things down on paper and planning for this. What does our credit report look like? What does our score look like? What do we need to change? Where are the errors? I mean, what can I do to build new credit? You know, I didn't have enough credit. So what can I do when I'm just now getting back to work. I don't have that much money. What can I do to rebuild my credit that crashed? You know what? Time. I'm telling you, the older those bad things get, like those lates that maybe we got,
The better.
the better.
Yes.
The time does heal.
Right,
Time
it
does heal.
Time does heal credit reports.
That's it does. Time does heal. But in the meantime, while you're working, these things that are happening that is going to catapult us to that next level of being in position, like we talked about before the break.
Yeah.
We're in that transformation. We're in that cocoon, maybe. You're like a butterfly. We're trying to get up out of here.
One leg out
I'm
the
gonna put Ron's back in this real quick too, because once again, going back to real estate, and a lot of times you can tell people, I know enough to be dangerous. I call myself a mini credit person, a mini real estate, mini mortgage person, because I've learned so much from you guys since we've been doing this. But Roz is kind of one of the initial catalysts as well, so she can help them to control that DTI, because people don't realize, you can kind of expound on this more, but people might qualify for $500,000. Just because you qualify for $500,000 don't mean you need to get $500,000.
No, absolutely.
You say don't be house poor.
Exactly.
So you don't have to go out and buy to your capacity,
Exactly.
right? Because the average first-time home buyer stays 7 years, 7 to 8 years, right? And there's a lot of people who just want to go out there and they want everything. We say champagne taste,
All the bells and whistles, right?
Kool-Aid, but for me. Yeah.
And I always say, you can't change where your house is located, but you can always add some lipstick here and there. You know what? So you can change how it looks, but you can't change where it's located. So be sure that you're buying a house where you want to stay. And with us becoming more remote in how we work, even that's not an issue anymore.
And that might be a situation where you make a decision, because I do know people sometimes who've been in the northern section of Collin County, personally, who were a customer of mine, they wanted to stay over there, but for the house they wanted to get, the same house in the southern sector was about $150,000 less. So they wanted to stay over there, but their thing was, they said, okay, do I want to stay over here, or do I want to get the house that I want? So you got to make determinations on factors as well, and decisions of like, is this where I want to be?
Absolutely. Give you some stats real quick. So research tells us there's about 1,000 people a day moving here.
Yep, I heard that.
And a lot of buyers are coming and migrating from New York,
California,
West Coast.
West Coast.
Yeah. Boy, you something else. But anyway, they're dropping big loads of cash. Some are paying cash for properties. Some are putting huge down payments, which does put a buyer in a better light if a seller has multiple offers. They're like, show me the money. They can't be approved. But they want to say, they want to see that you have some assets. Right, that you can put down. So there's, a lot of people moving here. And Texas is still the leader in job creation. We are big time leaders in the job creation. I mean, our taxes are lower here.
No state tax.
No state tax.
Being here in the Metroplex, we're not dictated like some areas, like the Houston might be around oil or something like that. You got every industry here, whether it be tech, oil, all different backgrounds and businesses are here. And companies are actually moving here as well.
Companies
every day.
moving here. Yes, by the droves. Actually, I read that Texas had the leading number of residents move here. We were number one over every metro area.
Wow. I can believe that.
Yeah. I mean, those numbers are startling. And when we talk about, Rhonda, what it takes to qualify for a mortgage, the pandemic did happen. Some people didn't return to work. Some people, we were just talking about it, Melanie, went out of business, and those businesses are not returning. And we have a lot of people, I need you to help expound on this and educate. We have some people who are not returning to their corporate job either. They're like, I'm taking my PPP, PPE, all of that money, and I'm going to start me a business. What are the qualifications for self-employed?
That's a good question, and that's a really important topic to really talk about, because changing an employment, purchasing a home is not a smart move.
Uh-oh.
Yes, because you have to have that 2 year of employment history. And what that means is that you can, in that industry, as long as you're in that industry, for instance, if I've been and I'm an engineer,
Yeah.
and I've been in there for 1 year, but I decide to take another engineer
job
position,
yeah.
then that won't affect me. But if I'm an engineer and I decide to go and start and be an appraiser, you know, in this industry that's
Totally
hot
different.
now. Yeah, that's totally different. And so that means that you don't have what we call that consistent employment, and you cannot qualify. And even if you go from W-2 employment, where you're getting that W-2 from your corporate job, and now you're 1099, which is a contractor position, or you're 100% self-employment, that's two different. You can't change from W-2 to 1099. You still have to be either 1099 for 2 years, or or self-employment with your last 2 years of business taxes, or you're W-2 for 2 years.
So in other words, people,
don't change.
Don't change. And if you're thinking about changing, what does the word say? Our plans succeed in the multitude of counselors. So here we go.
Yeah,
Ask.
Rhonda, call your lender, call your realtor, and say, you know what, I'm thinking about this, because I've had that happen where I've offered this awesome position that I've been really waiting for, and I really want to accept this offer. Can I? And then we'll go through it and say, okay, what's the salary? Is it more? Is it less? Because less can take you out of the qualifying realm. So if you're taking a less, because sometimes you may want that position that may keep you at home with your kids, but you're making less money.
Right.
So you have to take those kind of things into consideration as well. Or, and the other thing is that now I'm salary versus hourly. That makes a big difference. So let's talk about those things. Let's put it on paper. Let's run some numbers and see what kind of impact it has on you.
I'm gonna do like we used to do back in that old church. Like,
Like that. You got to get up and walk out.
Put me in the game, coach. Put me in the
I do
game.
have a question for you though.
Yeah.
I've heard that for eons and years, like you said, about switching jobs, in different industries. But why is it, say if I was in engineering, but then I decided to go to become an appraiser, and that job afforded me a better financial position to get that house? Do they make any exceptions for that, or is it just it is what it is?
There are always exceptions to the rule. There are always exceptions to any rule, but that exception is subjective.
Gotcha.
Do you understand what I'm saying? That's someone making that decision for you.
Gotcha.
Whether or not, exactly. Is the move you're making, is that important? And so do you really want someone to make that, of course you have other circumstances where you can't, make, that there's no choice. Then of course, but yeah.
Well, this is good for the tea, y'all. We're going to come right back after the pause for the call. See you in a second.
See you in a second.
Hey guys, we're back with Building Wealth Together, back to the basics, and we're going to get back to our topic, riding the tides of change. And I'm going to start off with Melanie here because I hear so many different things about student loans and how certain student loans are forgiven, some aren't. But the one I want to call her today, they were talking about that. They were talking about how physicians, they have special programs for student loans for physicians where they don't count that into their DTI or their credit information. So I was just curious, are there any other parameters or any other professions that get a special exception? And Mel, I'd like you to chime in on that for us.
Well, student loan is a big deal right now. And it's affecting a lot of people and has been affecting a lot of people over the course of time. But there are groups of people in specialized industries, specifically, look, would that go on a blue?
That was one of the rap.
Specifically, disabled there's specific loans, forgiveness for them. But what is really big right now are the individuals that had school with institutions that were for-profit. And those for-profit are bordering or are predatory toward these college students, waving this flag of a wonderful outcome, and they're like 80% over, charging them 80% over a regular college education.
Oh, wow.
So one of those, I was talking to Roz the other day, and we were talking about that, and one of those was ITT Tech. I mean, it's out there in the news. So there are those types of entities. It is on the news. It's public record. You know, there was something I found on the Associated Press that says for years ITT hid its true financial state from enrolling students, alluring them, many of them, into taking private loans with misleading and unaffordable terms that may have caused borrowers to leave the school. So they left the school, they got this huge debt, and so they're trying to reverse this wrongdoing initially with these Biden forgiveness. So when you're asking the question, who's getting those special attention right now? And right now it's those individuals that are have been done wrong in those industries. And I have actually a list of the 5 biggest predatory college students that if you're out there and you're listening and you've gone to one of these locations, there is a process that you can go to actually get your loan forgiven if you haven't already been notified. And there's a Corinthian College, ITT Technical Institution, Education Corporation of America, Education Management Corporation, and the University of Phoenix. Now, how many University of Phoenix commercials did you hear?
Yes.
Those are the top 5. Not that they're the only, but those are things that people have had pending, just suits. They can't sue them. There's paperwork in the fine lines where you say you cannot sue. There's a loophole. How, you know, those are the first people on the list for that forgiveness, you know. So we all can take a look and survey, well, what else can we do if we're not one of those individuals that attended one of those for-profit schools? What else is out there? Is it even going to happen for the rest of us? I mean, what is happening in the industry, and should we have any hope for any forgiveness outside of those specialty areas? In veterans, you know, Chris was saying the physicians, individuals that are disabled. You know, we should be doing some things to prepare for paying back. And to pay back, you know, what is it? It's going to be January 31st, 2020. That's when the pause is up. 2022. January 31st, 2022, the pause is over, and we'll have to, 40 million borrowers will start paying back.
Wow.
I want to chime in on that too, because once again, we listened to that call earlier today. You might want to check with your state too, because I think they sit here in the state of Texas, although federally they were doing certain things in certain states, and out here in Texas for sure, I didn't realize some people were already trying to cash in. I don't want to say cash in, but trying to get those deferments already canceled out already, whether it be renters or evictions and stuff like that. So it's all kind of tied in with your student loans and everything. So you might want to find out what's going on in your local area, your state as well, because it could be different from that standpoint as well.
One thing I want to add before I pass the baton over. Be on alert, guys. If you have not gotten a text or a call from someone saying, hey, loan forgiveness, you know, it is not the federal loan forgiveness. You know, you have to be on alert. It says don't accept any offers, unexpected offers of financial aid or help, such as a pandemic grant or a Biden loan forgiveness, without checking with your school to see if it's legitimate. Because there's a lot of fraudulent activity out there in relationship to credit fraud, loan fraud, and I'm sure we all have a story about people trying to take us on a ride and stealing our identity or opening accounts in our name, filing taxes for you in advance before you get a chance to file your own taxes. I mean, there's so many things that we need to watch out, and this is another one, just to be on alert don't really check it out, and don't just fall for anyone saying, hey, there's a forgiveness program and this is the one, and it could be just another fraudulent situation. So do your homework.
Good. That is
Do your
really
homework,
good.
yeah.
So, man, I got a question for you. I don't know if this is the time to talk about it or not, but then you say, so the permanent programs, then you said organizations, they might be switching to where they don't have to, I guess, acquiesce and honor those loans anymore. Is that something we can talk about now, or is that something we need to talk about in the future?
You mean honor the loans in relationship to forbearances?
Yeah, forbearances. You said where, where the government said we're going to forgive them, but they transferring those loans to private companies. And
Yeah, that's what Rhonda was talking about.
yeah.
Rhonda was sharing.
so I knew it was somebody.
Yeah.
Share more. Yeah, you were telling me about some research that you had in
Right,
relationship to
actually,
that.
it was an actual situation where I was working with a bar, and we talked about, she had quite a bit of student loan debt, and we talked about how she could possibly reduce her debt to income
Right.
by getting on an IBR, which is an income-based repayment plan
Right.
with the Fed loans. Now, this is for federal debt only, not for any private debt. And she actually contacted a servicer, which is Fed loan, and they're actually switching, and they're losing their contract on servicing the federal debt.
Right.
So they told her to hold tight, that they don't know who the servicer will be.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's going to be a private servicer?
No, it'll still be, they will only service
Okay.
federal debt.
Gotcha.
But it won't be Fed loan. And I know Mel and I kind of talked about it, and she can kind of jump on the bandwagon on this one, is that now they're trying to put all the Fed loans, or let's say federal loans, because Fed loan is a servicer,
Right. Yeah.
federal loans under one umbrella,
Okay.
especially with all the Biden administration, the changes when it comes to federal loan. They're looking at only having one servicer versus various servicers for our student loan debt.
Right.
And so you may have something
Yeah,
else.
well, those, the example, like Navient, Great Lakes, Nelnet, there's lots of loans out there, servicers, loans, and with all the variables in place, I mean, what do you think about it being one servicer? I think would it
it's a
cut
good idea.
out a lot of just the variable and the up and down? It's such a confusing industry, and people are wondering, what do I need to do? Okay, is my loan through federal?
Right.
Who is this? What's really going on? Realize if they're federal. I mean,
And you have to wonder, with all of the switching of the loan servicers, did any of your payments get dropped, missed? I mean, you'd have to have a meticulous eye and have someone examine those records to even see if you got credit. I'll just be honest, for your payments.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Ross, I got a question for you, because you're usually, when this whole process gets started, a lot of times you're going to probably be the initial person talking to that buyer. You actually kind of, as a pre-screening, I guess that's maybe a correct term, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably a pre-screening process. Do you talk to them about student loans and things of that nature in the hotline process?
Yeah, absolutely.
You kind of talk about that as well.
So I don't go into debt. I'm old school, even though I look new school. So I am a firm believer. I'm not sending you a list just because you call and say, hey, I saw you here, I got your ad here, I got your postcard. We're going to sit down and we're going to have a face-to-face contact. We're going to have a buyer's consultation. Anybody else do?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know we're in a microwave age. Everybody wants it now, and let's do it quick. Let's push this button. But, even with the pandemic, when we were not able to physically sit down, we would do a Zoom. But we would have a presentation, and I would go through the steps, these 75 to 100 processes or touches that it takes to get people from the idea phase to I got my keys.
Exactly.
And one of those is, look, when you speak to Rhonda or your favorite lender, they're going to consider your credit, your assets, and how you paid your bills in the past. And based on that, your buying power is going to be decreased if you have a lot of debt.
I'm going to cut you off real quick, too. I'm ebook is something that kind of goes over those steps, don't you?
Absolutely. Chris, I'm going to pay you the rest of your money.
your marketing manager over here.
Thank you, bro. But anyway, 26 years in the industry. Like I said, I've seen the ups and downs, highs and lows, being in the buyer's market, the pinnacle of the seller's market, and somewhere in between. So I'm like, you know what? I have all these answers and solutions. Let me just put it in a book. So this past summer, I released a book called How to Buy a Home in a Seller's Market, 22 strategies to winning the bidding war and getting the home that you want. So that's out there on Amazon. If you look up Rosalind Booker, that's Rosalind Booker, How to Buy a Home, it'll pop up. Amazon, just $2.99. You need to get that book down, $2.99. Now you spend more than that on coffee.
That's what I'm saying. Less than a cup of
That's
coffee.
right.
Unless you go to Starbucks.
Put that in your arsenal. And I really stand in the middle. I just don't talk about, wow, you need to buy. If buying an asset, if you going after your legacy right now is the answer for you, then it's the right time.
Exactly.
But you need to know what you're going to be up against. And that's what I am doing, is educating on.
Knowledge is power.
Yes, it is power.
About 2 words, education and what?
Consultation.
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 That's right. That's right.
Discovery information is critical, to have, listening to, finding out where you are. And some people just don't know what they don't know. I mean, you get those calls like, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to begin. Like, I know where you can go. I know where you can go.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you're right. And I'll be the first to say home ownership is not for everybody.
No.
And I don't count people's transactions because, it's a lifelong relationship with me. So I'll let you know, it's just not maybe the time for you. Right. Why wouldn't it be the right time for someone to buy? I mean, it could be various reasons. But one reason a person may not be ready to buy is maybe they've been a poor steward over their assets and the income that they do have. And Mel, you're really big on education and budgeting and this and that. So you want to elaborate?
I want to elaborate on that because there was a question posed. I don't know where I heard it, but kudos to whoever said this.
If it was good, it was probably me.
It was probably Chris, the principal. If someone gave you an 850 credit score, just said, here you go, handed you, gifted you, everything is clean, you start from scratch, you have to work for it. How would your management skills affect that score? Could you keep that 850 score based upon your management skills, your financial management, your credit management, the way you do business with your personal credit, your personal finances? Would you be able to keep that 850 credit score? And so that's what we have to ask ourselves. We want to get there, but can we keep it? Can we maintain it? How do we maintain healthy credit?
Right.
And on journeys to healthy credit, I love what Chris said earlier about DNA. In relationship to insurance and situations, well, credit is the same way. Everybody's thumbprint is completely different. And that's the way credit is. It's totally different. Totally different from everyone.
Right. And everybody's lifestyle is different.
That's exactly
But
right.
it's on the flip side, though. Like you just said, sometimes people don't know when they're ready. You should try to find out, because some people don't think they're ready. And
they're ready.
I mean, years ago, our first house, we were like that. We don't know if we're ready or not. And you don't know until you turn it in. We're like, oh, we're ready. We didn't know it. So, and even if you're not ready, you got the crew here.
That's right.
They can kind of get you in a position to where you can be ready. So that's why you want to reach out to professionals like ourselves, that we can help you out, or to somebody who knows that industry can help you out.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we have talked a lot about these tides and these waves that we've been riding.
That's right.
We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back, and we're just going to hone in on how we are going to create some new normals to sustain that life. Be right back. Well, thank you for coming back to Building Wealth Together, back to the basics. I'm your host, Roz B. Ask Roz B. Just want to take a moment to thank this wonderful title company, Independence Title. Thank you so much for sponsoring us today and allowing us to use your wonderful, beautiful studio. So thank you very much.
indeed.
Yay!
Y'all like that?
Yay! So we were talking about the new norms, creating new norms. So one thing in the real estate industry that I've seen, and it's getting some press here and a lot of heat as well. You know, a lot of buyers who don't want to be in that multiple offer rat race, they're buying new construction now.
Exactly.
But with that, you know, some new construction builders can't recoup a lot of the costs that they have to absorb from the rising cost of materials. We're seeing builders put escalation clauses in their contracts. And what does that mean for you as a buyer? You should watch it, because if material costs exceed a certain amount during the duration while your home is being built, you may have to eat those costs.
Exactly.
It could be $50,000, $60,000, $100,000.
Wow.
And, you know, they'll let you out of the contract. But, I mean, who wants to spend a whole year building a house
And then walk away.
and walk away? So that's one thing. Chris, what are you seeing in the industry in terms of some new norms in the insurance industry?
Well, some of the new norms I'm seeing, you know, of course, because people we talked about before, not enough to be dangerous, but a lot of people are selling their homes. And I tell them to be careful about that, because, like, once again, talking to you guys, I said, you got to have somewhere to go first and foremost. You know, and a lot of them they will rent, you know, but I said, be cognizant of where you can go. And this is being tough on that from a renter standpoint too, because that's starting to be kind of backed up, you know, to you know, get renters and stuff like that. So you know, I talked to them about that as well, and I've been having discussions with Rhonda too, because I said, hey, is it something that you can do for those renters that are out there? Is it some way maybe they can parlay that into getting a house? And that's why I tell a lot of my customers, because I'm big on, you said the house then the car, but my thing is this, you know, rent up with the goal of trying to buy like that. So I want to kind of put over to you, Rhonda, from the state standpoint. Do they kind of get any kind of awards or acceptance for having, you know, renting for like 10, 12 months or something like that? Does that help them out any, or is it all saying you don't get nothing out of renting?
Actually, which is really, really awesome. But this is for conventional financing. If you have we can use your last 12 months, which is exciting. This just actually came into existence in September, I think it was September the 18th, where you actually use the last 12 months of your rental history as into lessening what we call your risk factor. And it gives you a better opportunity, or a higher, I want to say a higher threshold of being qualified by having a positive rental history.
That's good news.
Yeah.
It's great news. One of the things that, and for the credit related part of that is when people are trying to build their credit, you know, they don't have a mortgage or anything on there. So it dings them on their credit because they don't have an installment like that large, like a mortgage installment. So to add an installment like an auto personal loan, it's what those installments are. Renters in your rental history is, we've always wanted to look at that. Hey, let's add that on to boost your score. So
it was a cost.
It was something that we were doing to say, hey, let's boost your score. Let's add that, because you don't have or show any installment. So it's good to have a balance of installment to two revolving accounts. And if you don't have any of those, so adding your rental history to your credit report will give you a higher score.
That's awesome.
That's Ross, I want to go back to you about the escalation thing. That's just kind of sticking in my old saying, that's sticking in my craw.
Yeah.
So,
It is crawl. Okay, hold on. What is a crawl?
some old school terms. I'm gonna start them. What's some of them old school
I'm
terms?
sorry, is that what's in your teeth? I'm sorry.
Y'all going to? Okay, hello viewers.
We're talking about the escalation. But seriously though, on the escalation, is there any way we can block that? Because I'm saying it's always been there, but a lot of people are starting to actually take these companies. Home builders are actually taking. They're taking advantage of the cost that's always been there. It's been there. Is there any way you can put in the contract to keep it from happening?
I'll just say this: those contracts are written to really protect the builder.
Right, exactly.
all
So
day,
we can
all day long.
negotiate it.
So
Sign
a
up,
buyer
sir.
always has the opportunity. You have the opportunity to hire an attorney
Yeah.
and create that language. Now, as a real estate professional, I can't tell you what to put in
Mhm.
a
In your
special
contract,
provision.
right.
I just cannot do that. But you can. Now,
But they do it, that's gonna be a different story.
I know.
Merger meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Usually the builder will say, oh, we cannot absolutely corrections to our contract.
They're moving on to the next.
Move on
You
to
gotta pay
the
to
next.
play.
Pay to play. There you go.
Yeah.
But while we're talking about renters, there is a Texas eviction diversion program. I was on a town hall call with Senator Royce West and Judge Tina Whitfield was on there as well. There were officials from the county, state, and the city of Dallas.
Okay.
I know the moratorium is kind of faded away, but this Texas eviction diversion program, there was 3 or 4 billion
What?
With a big-
federal dollars available to help people who have been affected by the pandemic to get caught up on their utilities as well as their rent. And they would pay 12 months and then add an additional 3 months as a surplus. So 15 months. And that is available.
Wow.
Yeah, that is
Is
available.
that, do any other counties have that, like Collin County, Denton County, Terry County?
They have their own unique, if I can chime in,
Okay.
each county has their own program. You can, there's a state level, the federal level.
Right.
So county, so I would just do your research and go dig deep into, if you need help and you can't pay those rents. I know there's Texas Rent Relief, which is something that they're saying, hey, it's called TRR, Texas Rent Relief. And I would look that up because there's funds available still on the Texas Rent Relief. And one thing I want to throw in on the rental, in regards to the CARES Act and everything that we're protected under for flaws or issues with how people are reporting, landlords, creditors are reporting on this information on your credit bureau under this protection. So sometimes errors are going to slip in relationship to, just the natural order of what that landlord or that lender or that creditor is usually used to doing. And now they're having to abruptly say, okay, how do I not report this because they're not making payments right now?
Right.
And we need to be mindful and look at that. So you're looking at your credit report. If you're not used to looking at it, you're like, well, there's negative on there. It's just, this is what I've seen about it. It's something to think about because you want to make no errors reported of any of those programs, specifically during the time frame that this was on.
I know we're talking about renters, but are there anything out there for people who are actually homeowners? Do they have any kind of relief for people who are homeowners, not renters? Is there anything out there like that for that? Anybody can chime in for me?
I believe on this call there was something, and we're going to give out our number at the end if anybody wants to reach out to us, and we can dig a little deeper and provide that information. But I wanted to give this phone number for those who wanted to research about the Texas Rent Relief Program. You can call 833-989-7368. That's 833-989-7368. Or go to TexasRentRelief.com. That's TexasRentRelief.com. So you know how we do, guys. Our round robin, right?
Round and round.
And we're going to start with Melanie.
Oh my goodness. P31 Resource Networking, just to remind you guys, being in a position where resources like this show, resources around that we're offering, that we'll put on the Facebook, put on the website, just so that we can all build a more solid foundation under these circumstances that we're living in, uncertain times, and just to be around this crew and all of this knowledge, it really does, when they say iron sharpens iron, it truly does. So I work in credit education, credit restoration. So if you're out there and you've listened and something is just said, nagging at you to say, I am going to bite the bullet and just go ahead and when we're overwhelmed, we ignore. We get it. We don't even want to see it. Just blinders. But let's just put it out there. Put it on the table For credit education, credit restoration, you can reach out to me, Williamson. You can reach me at 469-403-8394. And as far as consultations is concerned, you can have that no-cost consultation. Let's look at that credit report and see what needs to be done just to get you on the right path. Journey to Healthy Credit is my Facebook page where you can go and get tips and find more information about getting on a call with me. So I'll pass it on over back to Roz.
All right, Roaring Lion.
Okay. Again, I'm Rhonda Hutchison. I am a residential mortgage lender, and I am known as the Lone Lioness. And contact me with any questions that you may have about, can I purchase a home? Is it time? Is my credit score in a position to purchase? My debt to income, am I at a reasonable debt to income that I can move forward? Give me a call with any questions that you may have at 214-856-3747. That's 214-856-3747. I'll be there to answer any questions that you may have. Mr. Chris?
And once again, Ziegler Agency Allstate, located in Frisco, Texas, where my motto is customer service with a personal touch. And once again, the education and consultation is my thing. And I would be remiss about, this is September, it's Life Insurance Awareness Month. And give me a call about that at 214-870-4269. Because we're talking about homes, we're talking about autos and things of that nature. You want to protect your assets. And a lot of times people think when it's coming to, life insurance, they think it's for people who die after you're gone. But we have policies out there that are for people who are living. I'm a testing myself where I actually use one of my policies where it was a cash value policy to do a personal, business venture, several years ago. So give me a call once again at 214-870-4269 so we can discuss that. Financial asset, consultations as well, because everybody knows I do the home, the auto owner, renters, boats and stuff like that. And I do commercial business insurance, but I do life insurance and financial products as well. So definitely give me a call so that I can help you out to help you be strategically in check for what you're trying to do. So I'm going to kick it over to Roz.
Awesome. And I'm Roz B. You better ask Roz B. I just made that up. I'm Roz B. Ask Roz B. I'm your principal broker, CEO of Arbrook Realty, where we birth dreams and real estate. We want you to win. It's your right. It's your inheritance. Why continue to make the landlord rich?
Exactly.
And if you're not quite there yet, we have this wonderful, powerful team that can help you get ready.
The Fabulous Four.
That's right. We're helping sellers for the most amount of money, 1 to 10% over list price. We're helping buyers save $10,000 to $20,000 on their home purchase. Yes, we're doing it. We're doing it. You cannot afford to miss the opportunities that are there. Until next time. You be sweet. And Chris, why don't you give them our number where we can all be reached?
The number is 469-795-1708.
Once again, what's that number?
Once again, it is 469-795-1708.
Awesome.
Hi, y'all. Bye-bye.